Hi, my name's Dave, your host. You're listening to the last podcast where the first shall be last and the last shall be first. If this is your first time listening, welcome. I'm happy you found us. And if you're returning, welcome back. I really appreciate you listening and thank you so much. I hope you continue to find tips, ideas, and value from listening to this podcast. Today is going to be another short one. I am talking about a journey that I'm on, and for one of those, it's basically starting all over. I touched base on this yesterday, but you know what I noticed? I haven't had to look for a new apartment or a new home to rent in a long time. And when I looked at what's out there, opposed to what's on the market years ago, it's mind blowing. And if you were looking for an apartment or a home or what have you, in the past couple of months, you know exactly what I'm talking about, or even the past couple of years, I'm assuming it's probably really been difficult, especially if you're the type of person living paycheck to paycheck or on a budget, so to speak. You really have to watch out. But if you're the type of person that just didn't know when your money was coming, and then you had a specific time to vacate the premises, maybe it's time to try to really look as fast as possible. And in my case, it was just that. You know, you have 4 days to look for something. It's not lack of funds, it's the lack of time that basically allows you to find what you need to find, and in the area that you want to be in. And I realized something. The area that I want to be in, a lot of people say, well, we don't really have anything right now, but probably we have something coming up within another 2-3 weeks or whatever. And you're telling these people, hey, what do you have this week? By the end of the week, or possibly next week. And it's pretty much nothing unless you want to spend top dollar. And for me, I don't want to spend top dollar. I don't want to spend $2,500 for an apartment, and then we're talking about you still have all the other bills that you have, whether it be car note, whether it be insurance, light, gas, water, and all of that stuff. I don't even know if as far as the apartment is concerned, if you still have to pay all that, but from what I've been hearing, you still do. So what is one to do? If you guys have any thoughts on that, hit me up at the last podcast 443@gmail.com. But what I am going to do is I've offered to move in a place. I probably would stay there for a year. I will commit to a year, and I believe from my understanding, this lady said it's not a year. In one of the places, it's like 18 months was the commitment, and it's only $1,200 a month. But when you look at it, and they want pay stubs or what have you, and I'm telling them I don't have pay stubs, but what if I did this instead? What if I pay 6 months in advance or a year in advance? Would that work out for you? And then one of the managers say, well, if you're apt to do 6 months in advance, we can work around the pay stub. So I'm assuming that most apartment complexes are flexible when it comes to saying, hey, this guy is willing to pay for 6 months in advance, or this person is willing to pay 6 months in advance. Maybe we can take a chance on that. He's not showing us whether he's working or whatever the case may be, but he has the funds in his bank to go ahead and pay 6 months in advance. Now, that's not natural what I would like to do. It's not ideal, but if it gets me into a place of my choice or my choosing, so to speak, I might be inclined to do something like that. But right now, I have inclined to take my time. And what I mean by that is I decided to shack up in a room. I put all my belongings into a storage, and I will save money with the room. And rooms, in my opinion, if you don't have somebody that you can trust, that might not be such a great idea either, but they're expensive too. I was looking at some rooms, and some rooms were $1,000. You might as well get your own apartment for that amount. But I have found some colleagues that I work with, and I decided to stay with one of them. And this is an opportunity for me to think about where I really want to be at, and start doing my research, and in my spare time, start looking for a desirable place that I would like to move to. And, it's kind of scary. You're starting all over. You're doing everything brand new. It gets to the point where you say, okay, so now where do I go from here? What do I want to do with the rest of my life? And, this is the fourth quarter. So you got to make the fourth quarter count. It's got to be authentic. It means that you've done, for 3 quarters, you probably lived a life where you've helped a ton of people, you've helped others, and you lived for others. But the fourth quarter really boils down to, now it's you. You're in the fourth quarter. Where do you want to be? What do you want to do? What is your goals from this point on? And when I meant that it has to be authentic, it has to be something with substance, something that's worthwhile getting you up in the morning and have you going to bed late at night. That type of thing, something that drives and ignites your passion to the point where you're saying, oh my goodness, why didn't I do this a whole lot earlier? So you start thinking, you say, okay, what it is that I want to do? You got to take stock into yourself. What have you put on a shelf all those years that you've lived, but you didn't, you put your goals or ambitions and everything else that's on a shelf for family, for raising a family, to care for others. Now it's about you. What do you want to take off the shelf? What do you want to start? What do you want to do? Because in my opinion, it's never too late. It's never too late. If you can get up in the morning and God has graced you with good health, now the fourth quarter counts. He's giving you the ability to move forward and say, now take life by the reins and go for everything that you can do. But be passionate about life. Like Jesus said, I come so that you may have life more abundantly. So now in this fourth quarter of life, what do you want to do? That's me. So I'm in my fourth quarter of life, and I intend to look over everything, find where my passion lies, and go for the gusto. Live life and help others. Be a blessing to others as God has been a blessing to me. Well, my name is Dave. You're listening to the last podcast where the first shall be last and the last shall be first. I hope that I will be able to continue to do this podcast. It gives me great joy to just sit here and talk with you guys on the mic and talk with you. But if you want to reach out to me, you want to know anything about me, you can hit me up at the last podcast 443@gmail.com, and I will hit you back up. Well, thanks again. Until tomorrow, so long.